Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where I am still surprised at how quickly this asteroid mined out. Yeah, I get that it was just a Class A asteroid, but that was insanely fast. We are still processing the ore here. We've got a decent amount of it left. We're going to go ahead and warp forward a little bit while we process this. There we go. And we are filling up this tank here. The other tanks are not currently filling. We are likely going to run out of power when we go around into the dark side here, but we'll see how that ends up going. We are now done processing our ore, and so this is all we're going to get in terms of fuel. So we're going to just go ahead and send that fuel on over to this over here. Okay, so we can in fact refuel this guy. We're going to need to go bring in another asteroid. Now we do have a few in orbit over here already. And one of them is in orbit around the moon, if I remember correctly, and I think one is in orbit around Minmus. We're going to have to go get both of them eventually, but for now, I think that we're just going to detach this guy. And yeah, we just go ahead and release that. So off he goes. We're going to get some distance here. So we'll just warp for a bit. We will... Okay, that's currently locked. We can disarm that. There we go. And we can re-extend our antenna. And off we go. So just getting a little bit of distance here. This is enough at this point. And we could burn for the moon pretty quickly here, but I think we're going to go for Minmus instead. So let's go ahead and set Minmus as our target. And we just passed the descending node, which is a little bit awkward, but we're just going to alter our inclination here by 6.1 degrees. We will need to burn anti-normal. That was a little much. And there we go. That'll do. We will position for that burn. We're still not very far away from the station, of course, but we will then head on over to that burn point. And we'll just get a little bit more distance from the station. And we'll begin that burn in about 20 minutes, but we definitely need to bring in another asteroid. First thing that we need to do, though, is we need to clear out this asteroid. I want to crash that into one of the moons, I feel like. I'm not sure which one we want to do. We've already crashed one into Moon, I think. For science, but we could crash it into maybe Minmus. I'm not sure if we have the Delta V. Well, actually, that thing is a lot lighter now that I think about it. So that should be fine. We're going to warp forward a few more seconds here. And 10 seconds. And let's go. So we are getting out of here. We will be back to the station, but we did refuel most of the way. I'd like to get a Class B asteroid in here. I mean, ultimately, I'd like to get one of the biggest asteroids available in. That would be really nice, but for now, we don't really have that, and we probably don't have the infrastructure to move that. We'll have to look at what's available for that, or what's required for that, really. And that's something that we'll just have to kind of feel out. Okay, so did I overshoot that? No, that looks good. So next up, we're going to shoot off for Minmus. Probably not here, but we'll see what that looks like. Actually, that's not bad. And we can see that we've got our Class B redirector here. So this looks okay. This looks absolutely fine. And that will happen in 15 days. So we'll have enough time to get our asteroid cleared out of the station. I like it. We will position for that burn about 700 meters per second. And we'll just go fetch that. About another minute here until that burn. Where is Kerbal? Hi, Kerbal. 10 seconds. Okay. And burn. Are we far enough away to physics warp at this point? I don't think the station is nearby. I don't think it's physics loaded. I do not see it. I'm going to assume it's not physics loaded, and we're going to physics warp this burn. We do not want to physics warp near that station. That is definitely a lesson learned. About 20 seconds left in this burn. 10 seconds. And we'll call that good enough. Is that not quite an encounter? That is not quite an encounter. There we go. That's an encounter. Next up, we will focus on Kerbal again. And we will grab the asteroid, or rather the mining ring station. We'll switch over to that. Hopefully we don't have a Kraken going on here. If we do, we can always reload. But I don't think that we will. Okay, so our next step will be to release this grabbing unit. To release this grabbing unit, we will unextend them. Like so. And then release this grabbing unit. So that asteroid is now free. And we will unextend this. We'll move these back over to their target positions. And yeah, that'll create some wobble. That is 100% guaranteed to do. We already knew that. But we'll just go ahead and get these going. And then we will swap on over to the asteroid. Once this is cleared up a bit. We just want to get everything folded and put away. Okay. So we're going to swap to the asteroid here and SAS on. And where are we going to go? Well, I want to crash this thing into min-miss. So we are going to set as target. And at the descending node here, we're going to need to add a maneuver and burn normal 6.1 degrees. Okay. So that's 194 meters per second. You can see we have a lot more meters per second here, so that's great. We will position this, and it's a lot easier to turn now as well. And we will just warp over 22 minutes. Hopefully, this will unload by the time we get there. We'll see how that goes. 10 minutes. Things will smooth up a lot once that does unload. Sad. So this burn is going to be in about 50 seconds. We will continue to warp. And all we need to do is impact this into min-miss. We should have enough delta V to do that. So 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And this engine isn't active. There we go. So obviously this is going to be a bit of a lengthy burn. We can't physics warp while we are close to the station here. I think I didn't get everything put back looking at how that's sitting. But for right now, we are going to just chill here. I'm actually going to pause this recording a bit because this is a bit of a long burn, and we will be back after this burn. See you guys in a bit. Okay, it's not actually done with the burn just yet, but the station is no longer loaded, so we should be safe to physics warp from here. So we're going to go ahead and physics warp, and yeah, this is moving a lot. That's interesting. I'm not sure why our maneuver node is moving so much. Okay, well, we're able to keep up with it, so that should be absolutely fine. We need about 60 more meters, or rather 70 more meters per second here. And you can see we're nearly out of xenon gas. We're kind of going crazy here right now. Interesting. But we're still locked basically right on the maneuver node. This is definitely a whole lot less mass now that we have it mined out. Man, where is this going? What is wrong with this node? That's insane. I guess we'll see what it does at the end. That's wild. This thing is just going crazy. I have no idea why it's doing this. Let's just see where we're at. 0.2 degrees? The ascending node is now here. So I guess we'll just redo this. No worries. We've overshot ever so slightly, but that was wild. I don't know what that node was doing. But we'll just go ahead and lock to that maneuver node, and we will warp to this next one. It's only 5.6 meters per second at this point. We got most of the way there. So that's fine. Okay. Here in about a minute. I don't really have an explanation for why that node was going all over the place. It really shouldn't have been. Okay, this one's doing the same thing. Wild. We're just going to do this the old-fashioned way, I think. Never mind. We're on the correct inclination right now. Sounds good. So we're going to target Min-Miss, and that means that we will need to... No, I don't want to target the Comsat. I want to target Min-Miss, and that means that we are going to add a maneuver somewhere around here-ish. We'll see how that... No, that's not going to be far enough over, is it? Actually, that's very close. Yeah, that would do. And we want this to be an impact course. So I want to modify this maneuver. Can we select the maneuver, please? Kerbal? Are you good? Are you good? No, Kerbal's not good. It doesn't want to let us alter the maneuver. There we go. Fantastic. So next up is going to be modifying this a little bit to give us an impact course. And that's an impact right there. I like it. That should do. And we've got enough delta V to make that happen. There we go. So we will warp over to this burn. And when will this impact occur? In like 6 days? So that should happen before the asteroid ferry is out here by a pretty substantial margin. That is good. That is what we want. 50 seconds. 30, 20, 10, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, burn. This will be a pretty lengthy burn again. So I'm going to physics warp this burn, and we are going to pause this again, and we will be right back at the end of this burn. See you guys in a bit. And we're back. We are now on a collision course. It's not the same collision course because I remembered why the node was spinning wildly. It is because, of course, we weren't doing control from the grabbing point. That is the problem there. But we are now on a collision course. It's a bit of a wild collision course, but it's a collision course nonetheless, and that is all we need. So we're going to impact here, and we're going to impact in about 5 days. It's definitely not what we were aiming for, but it'll do. It'll do. So the asteroid ferry is going to head out here, but of course, all we need to do is come in here and impact. So we're going to warp to here, and then we're just going to lock to prograde. Oh, we have no electric charge right now, but that doesn't actually matter. Yeah, this doesn't really stretch far enough, but that's okay. We may get some electric charge, but no, we're just going to impact, and we have no electric charge. So this is fine. We're just going to warp on in and impact Min-Miss with this asteroid. Fantastic. Get ourselves some seismic data. Go down to 1x here, and this isn't the fastest impact I've ever seen, but it'll do. We're going to impact right here, looks like. Cool. So that'll dispose of this asteroid for us. Absolutely no problem. Kaboom. And bits go flying. I love it. That may have actually been out of range for the seismic data. It doesn't matter. We were mostly just trying to get rid of the asteroid. And it's just fun to crash things. So that will be absolutely fine. That's not a catastrophic failure, for the record. We're going to go to our tracking station. That was a catastrophic success, I would actually argue. So next up, we have that on a suborbital trajectory. Yeah, that's just a little bit of debris, in all honesty. We're going to hop over to the ferry next, because we need to do a retrograde burn here very shortly. We need to grab our Class B asteroid and get that moved over. Okay, so we are going to need to... That's the Kerbal apoapsis. We're going to need to focus our view on Min-Miss here, and we're going to need to warp to this periapsis, which we'll just go ahead and do. I'm actually not even going to bother to do a maneuver here. It's not necessary. We just know that we need to retrograde until we are in an orbit. It's a slightly inclined orbit from, I think, what our target orbit here is, but that's okay. So we'll be arriving here very, very shortly. And here we go. So we need to burn pure retrograde here until such a time as we're in orbit. And that won't be very long. There we go. Maximum of 260 meters per second for doing that. I just want to circularize a bit. That'll be okay. And orbit is mostly what we need. So we're down to 100 meters per second. And 70. 50. That'll do. Okay, so next up is our asteroid redirector class B. We'll set that as our target. And it looks like we're going to head to the descending node. Change our inclination. We need to burn normal. A little bit. This is only 2 meters per second. Okay. We're going to thrust limit our engine for that one then. Down to around 1% thrust. That'll be fine. And we'll align for that burn and head on over. Orbiting Minmus at this altitude is very slow, but that's okay. And we will burn this in about a minute. 30 seconds. Let's do it. Right about now. That's a little more thrust limited than I thought it would be, I'll be honest. But it's okay. We'll get this done. 1 meter per second to go. I guess this is difficult to overshoot. That's a benefit, I suppose. 2, 1. We'll call that good. So next up, we will need to intercept the asteroid redirector. I'm not sure where the best intercept point would be. Let's start somewhere fairly close in the future. Okay, we're going to need to definitely change when we're burning this. I do not want to get normal burn in there. There we go. I just wanted to change when that was happening. Yep. Okay, so sometime around here. Maybe a little earlier. No, later. It's later. Okay. No, I don't want the ascending node. I just want the intersect point. There we go. And now we can fine-tune that a wee bit. Down to 20 kilometers. Still coming down. Honestly? I saw 0.5 kilometer there. 0.1 kilometers apart. And only 16.9 meters per second. Beautiful. That is an amazing intercept there. I do want to bump this up to about 5% thrust because 10 meters per second... Actually, let's go to 10% thrust. 10 meters per second should take about as long as that last burn. So we will align for that burn. It's going to be about a 10-second burn, looks like. That's reasonable. And we are going to warp on over there. So let's get that change. In about a minute here. And we will burn it right about now. And off we go. Yeah, this is reasonable. That should do. 1.8 kilometers is close enough. I'll be honest. That is close enough. So we're just going to set target retrograde, which is over this direction. But we're going to need to warp over here about 2 days in. Did this just change wildly on me? During the warp. Oh, I see. Right, that's fine. Weird, to be sure, but fine. We're going to warp about another 25 minutes in. We can see that the asteroid redirector is right over here, about 20 kilometers out. Sounds good. What is our... That's not the separation I'm looking for. We're going to have to wait till after this warp before I can answer that question. Separation of 1.6 and relative speed of 16.5. Okay, so we're at the relative speed right now, but we're not at the closest separation. We can continue to warp forward a bit. We're now 3 kilometers away. This is, in theory, the closest separation. I don't think it's actually the closest separation. I think it's actually a little bit less than that. But let's go ahead and bring this thrust limiter up to like 20% thrust. And we're just going to let this thing lazily drift by a little bit until we are about here. We're going to burn. There we go. And now we'll point at target. We should arm our advanced grabbing unit. I wonder how our communications will be without the antenna. Let's find out. We're just in orbit of Minmus. I think we should be okay. Yeah, we're fine here. So that'll be fine. We are going to burn on in at about... Actually, just checking our separation here. 0.0 kilometers. So for now, we're going to head in at about 2.5 meters per second, I think. We should be able to survive an impact at that speed. Let's see how close we get. We may have to flip around and correct our aim a little bit. We've got that big asteroid redirector there, too. Okay, I want to target center of mass here. We didn't have the center of mass targeted previously. So we're just going to flip around. And we're going to keep going by here. I want to grab onto it from, like, the center here. Okay. We're going to kill that relative speed. And point at the target. I wonder if we're going to destroy our solar panel doing that. Nope. We're good. We're good. We are targeting the center of mass, which is right here, of all places. Okay. Well, in we go. And we'll grab right on. How much delta V do we have in this, I wonder? We didn't grab. I would have expected that we would grab there. No, please stop. SAS, please stop. We planning to grab? There we go, we grabbed. Okay, that'll do. So, we are, of course, going to shut down... Well, we could use these engines first. How much do we have here? We have quite a bit. Honestly, I feel like we didn't need to bring this guy. But I'm going to do it anyway because we want him attached to get this mass here converted. I'm going to shut down this engine, and we're going to use this, though. Why are you retracting? Can you not? Thanks. Okay, we're going to control from here. And that should be fine. Then, we're going to need to get ourselves a return trajectory. So, we want to burn somewhere over here, I believe. Yes. And we want to get this periapsis to be, honestly, about 1,000,000 meters, I think. Something kind of like that would do. That gives us enough space to be able to plot and intercept and change our inclination. So that should be fine. We will warp to this, but I should have maneuvered to it. That's what I intended to do, but we're going to warp anyway. This will be fine. We do have extra power here. We should probably retract this one so that it's not blocking this Gigantor. That would be a good idea, I think. Okay, so we're going to retract these. There we go. And we're blocking the Gigantor because of our turn, but that's okay. We should, I think, be okay on power. I hope. Okay, so we are in position now, and we are going to start this burn in about 20 seconds. And let's go. Okay. We're going to turn this reaction wheel. Actually, I'm going to completely turn it off. Okay. Yeah, this is because our center of mass here is a little bit spicy. I want to check our reaction wheel here. Yeah. That's going to be spicy indeed. Can we hold here at like 25% thrust? We can, but it's not going to be pretty. Okay. Well, that's going to be a while to burn like that. I mean, we're not in a huge rush, although we're going to be a little late on it. Can we get away with like 50% thrust? We can. What about 2/3 thrust? We're drifting off with 2/3 thrust. Okay. So we'll chill at 50% thrust for now, and that'll be okay. I would definitely like it if we were able to do something about this situation, but I mean, this is mostly a center of mass issue, I think. We are controlling from here, so that's fine. This will just be a lengthy burn. It is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we are going to bring this guy on in. It's going to be a little awkward, but we'll be able to do it. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole, Sigma162, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Video Games Are Not Real, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.